Welcome to this tutorial on Aave. I do hope that before you started this lesson, you did do all the tasks from the previous lesson. As always, the tasks are extremely important. If you just watch the videos in order and you don't do the tasks, you're not going to learn nearly as much. So do the tasks, participate in the forum, all super important. Now let's get started. So let's switch to my screen and we can see I'm at DuckDuckGo, and what we're going to do is go to aave.com. They are just killing it with $31 billion in liquidity, which is fantastic, and that's across all of their markets. Now, we always want to double check we're at the correct site. As always, that looks good. So let's go enter the app. Wait for it to load for a long... Okay, there we go. Now we're at the Aave markets. Now, this is on Aave V2 market. So this is on Ethereum. You can see they also have Aave on Polygon and on Avalanche. But what we don't see are testnet markets here. So if we were to connect our wallet, it's going to automatically connect us to Ethereum. But what we want to do, if we open MetaMask, we want to be on the Kovan testnet. So we need to go from app.aave.com to staging.aave.com. So now we're at staging.aave.com, and we can see that we have many more networks to choose from. So we have Aave V2 on Kovan and on Ethereum, Aave MM, which I believe is Aave Money Market on Kovan, which I think is Aave V1. And then we have Aave on Polygon, Aave on Polygon's Mumbai testnet. That's what that M stands for. On Avalanche, and then we have on Avalanche's Fuji testnet. So we are on Aave V2 on the Kovan testnet. Perfect. Let's connect our wallet, which is the browser wallet, and we're on Kovan test network, as you can see. Yeah, Mumbai, Fuji, and then Ethereum ones. So we're going to use Kovan, which is for Ethereum, which pops up MetaMask, and then we go to next. We're going to let it connect to our wallet. Now our wallet is connected, and we have some different options to choose from. Now, I did go here 3 days ago, and I deposited 1,000 DAI, and so we're going to be able to see how much I've earned in 3 days. So if we go to my MetaMask and we scroll up, we can see I have 9,000 DAI. I had 10,000, but I deposited 1,000, which also means, if you remember from the last lesson, if I have 9,000 DAI here and I deposited 1,000 DAI, that means that I also have 1,000 DAI in my wallet. Now, what we can do is when we're deciding which things we want to borrow, we can look at the different APYs we can get. So we have stable coins up here at the very top. These are going to be the most commonly borrowed ones because, as I was saying, it's very dangerous to borrow Ethereum, especially if you want to borrow Ethereum and you're going to pay 200% interest rate, which on top of the potential price appreciation of Ethereum is ridiculously dangerous. I would not do that. Although if I could make 163% lending it, then that would be fantastic. And remember, these interest rates are market driven, which is why if we look at here, we see that the market size, 47,110,000. That means that the LTV ratio is extremely high, which is why these APYs are so extremely high. And if we wanted to click on it, we could even get a better view of it. So we can see that the available liquidity is $65 worth, or 0.02 ETH. So that is not a lot that is available. Let's look at DAI. So we can see DAI, it's almost all available. You can see how much it's green compared to how much is red. So very little has been borrowed. That is why the APYs are almost nothing. This also shows you the maximum LTV. So if I deposit 100 DAI, I can borrow $75 worth. So there we have that. And then this also just gives you some other really valuable ones. So we see the liquidation threshold. I can borrow 75 out of 100, but if it goes to $80 or 80% of that 100, then I would be liquidated. Going back here, we also see synthetic USD. That is the synthetics version of USD. This one has most of it is borrowed, which is why we're going to see really high APY. If we deposited that, we could get 125% APY. Maybe that's what I should have done, but instead I did DAI, which means I probably have earned pretty much nothing. So we're going to deposit first, because if you want to borrow anything, you have to deposit first. So I think maybe at the beginning of this lesson, I said we're going to borrow, but we're going to deposit first. So let's deposit some more DAI. If we go here, we can see my wallet balance is 9,000 DAI, as we saw. I've already deposited 1,000. We're going to go ahead and we're going to deposit DAI. We're going to go to continue. Let's go ahead and just deposit all 9,000 of it. Now, normally we wouldn't do this because we're not going to earn anything off of it. But I want to also deposit that DAI so that I can use it as collateral to borrow something else. So even though we won't earn off of the DAI, I still want to use it as collateral. So let's deposit it. Go to yes. I'm going to pop up this transaction. If we were on the Ethereum mainnet, we might want to go to edit, consider whatever gas fee that we want to pay, because gas is really high right now. We could go to Etherscan or Ethereum gas station, and we could see this is how much we need to put in for a slow transaction or a medium transaction or a fast transaction. In this case, we're on the testnet, so we're going to use 2 Gwei. It's twice as expensive as the one that I did before, but whatever. And we'll wait for this transaction to go through. We could go to it on the Explorer if we wanted to view it, but I'm just going to wait. And there it goes. This is really convenient that we can now add a DAI to our browser wallet. So let's click that. Gives us an option to add it. Let's add our token and open up MetaMask. Go to assets and we see that we have 10,000 a DAI, 0 DAI, 0 ETH, 0.1 ETH. Great. Wonderful. So we have that. And now let's go back to our dashboard. A couple of things we can see. We have our approximate balance. This is going to be the US dollar value of our deposits. So we have here, we can see that we have 9,940 US dollars worth of DAI. You know, it should be 10,000, but as we'll learn in the stablecoin deep dive, DAI, kind of like a dog on a leash, tends to go above and below $1 more so than some of the other stable coins. But anyway, here we have our current balance. Now we're going to go to borrow. So this is pretty convenient. We could click borrow here, or we could just go to borrow up there. Let's borrow now. Now we are ready to borrow, which we're going to do in the next tutorial. Now your task for this tutorial is to get this far along in your borrowing on Aave on the Kovan testnet. And then we can continue on the next tutorial together, and we're going to be doing some borrowing. Did I say lending? We did lending in this one. We're going to do borrowing in the next one. Let's do it.